So good morning. I'm going to be talking about math for journalists. Just stop me if you have any questions. I'm sure there's going to be a few along the way. And let's talk about why we need to learn math. The first one, ignorance isn't bliss. Journalists are generally smart people, but I've never seen a group of people embrace ignorance so much as I have seen journalists say, you know what, I became a journalist so I didn't have to do math. I think if you're a journalist and you say something like that, you should probably find a new job. There's no aspect of our jobs where we should be proud of being ignorant, and it's just something that really bugs me. So that's one thing. Secondly, if you know what you're talking about, you're not going to sound like a fool. These are a few stories that have come out recently. Does religion make you fat? Well, that's a fundamental misunderstanding of what correlation and causation are. And so CBS News ran that. There's a whole bunch of different people who ran that story, saying that religious people were more likely to be fat, and that's not necessarily true. Cell towers make birth rates skyrocket. This was a story from The Guardian that, again, mixed up what the numbers meant. Because think about it, really, if you live near a cell tower, is that going to make you pregnant? Of course it's not. And pretending that it will is just moronic. And then everybody's favorite, Jenny McCarthy, vaccines cause autism, which was, wrong numbers from a bad study that people have latched onto and keeps going. So, you're not going to sound like a fool if you understand math. And third, you're going to be better at your jobs. Everybody's heard of Foxconn. If you have an iPhone or a Windows phone or pretty much any cell phone at all, they've probably made it. Your iPads, if you have a Mac, whatever, they're a company that's made it. They employ over 1 million people now. Recently, they've been in the news for horrible working conditions, and for the past 4 years, they were in the news over suicides. They had to hang nets up because people were jumping off the buildings. And this turned to be a major outrage, right? 17 suicides. So this was a story in Wired and got picked up by a lot of different news outlets. But if you think about that, that was over 4 years. 17 suicides over 4 years and 1 million workers. What would the suicide rate be? It actually comes out to about 0.567, which, if you consider the actual suicide rate in China per 100,000 being around 13, having half a suicide per 100,000 people is way better than the national average for China. I mean, you think about that, the average suicide rate for college students in the United States is 7.5 per 100,000. So basically, this was a big, big, big thing. Wow, this is, horrible, this is something we gotta do. When really, if you'd done some math, you'd notice that it's really not that bad. So you're gonna be better at your job if you learn to do math properly.